Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love, and this week I have an email from a woman who says, I went on a date with a guy and he really liked me. You don't know that. You don't know if he liked you. It was one date, so don't make assumptions. Just saying. He noticed a lot about me, the things I want a man to notice. Well, that's always a good sign, and any guys listening to this, take note. Women love it when you notice things about them. They want to feel special, and the only way to make them feel special, or one of the ways, is to pay attention and to notice things. Okay, moving on. I realized he wasn't ready for a relationship as he had just gotten divorced 8 months earlier. His wife cheated, and I knew he was upset. They have a 5-year-old together. Well, good for you. I'm glad you realized that he wasn't ready. Especially after a divorce, 8 months usually is not enough time, since obviously he has to keep in touch with her because they have a child together, and that just makes it worse. And it's even worse if the wife cheated, because men take that really hard when a woman cheats. So he's definitely not ready to be in another relationship. Okay, moving on. I touched base with him a few months later, and he was still upset over the divorce. He was ready to see me, but on a more casual basis. I told him, okay, but I don't want to jump into bed. Good for you. He said, stop trying to make me work for it. Ha, ha, ha. So let me tell you something, and everyone listening, well, not everyone, just the women, make a note of this. Guys who are serious, guys who want to develop a relationship with you, they expect to work for it, and they don't mind working for it. But guys who are not serious, who are just looking for something casual, they don't want to work for it. They want you to just hand it over. And so they will say things like, stop trying to make me work for it. Okay. Then she says, I never had sex with him. Good. Only fooled around. Not sure what that means, but okay. I haven't heard from him in 3 weeks. Should I touch base with him again? Hell no. He said a lot of good things about me and still finds me attractive. I don't care what he said. Anyone can say anything, and that's nice that he finds you attractive. He should find you attractive if he's going to date you, or if you're going to date him too. But no, I mean, you've already touched base with him once, and now you want to keep chasing, and you know that he's not ready. And you have to leave him alone until he is ready, because otherwise, at the most, you'll be a rebound. And I get a lot of emails like this where people start dating or trying to date someone that has just gotten out of a relationship. And that's the worst thing you can do, because, again, at best, you will be a rebound. Does it ever work out? Of course. There's no absolutes in dating, but for the most part, it generally does not work out. I recently went out with the guy, and everything was perfect, from his first email to me, to the follow-up, to calling to confirm the day of the date, to how he was dressed, to how he looked, to everything he said, blah, blah, blah. Everything was perfect, except he had just gotten out of a 7-year relationship, and it had only been 3 months. And so, no, I said no when I found that out, and I'm glad I found out on the first date. You should always ask on the first date, actually, when was their last relationship, because it could have gone one of 3 ways if I had continued to date him. 1, we would be getting along great. However, the ex, would then find out about it, and suddenly she'd want him back. And because there was a history there and he would feel a pull, then he'd have to put the brakes on our relationship, or he wouldn't have to, but he would want to, most likely, and go back and revisit that relationship and see if it can possibly work. Number 2 is that he would start to miss her in starting a new relationship with me, and he would try to see if it can still be worked out with her. Or number 3, of course, the best case scenario would be that neither of those 2 things happen, and we dated and lived happily ever after, or just dated and whatever. And so, as you can see, there's like a 1 in 3 chance that things will work out. And if you love yourself, you want the odds to be better than that. So if someone has just gotten out of a long-term relationship, they've gotten divorced, you need to give them enough time. And you say, okay, how much time is enough time? Listen, everyone's different. I don't know. There's no set amount of time. I can't say, okay, well, according to this calculations, it should be exactly 7.5 months. He'll be over it. It can only be determined by his behavior. And you just have to give people enough time to get over it. And they're not going to forget you, okay? If you made an impression, if they're really into you, they are not going to forget you. Trust me. That's the fear everyone has. But I met someone when I was 26 or 27, and he lived in another country, so we only saw each other in the summers. And I really didn't have that much involvement with him, but he made such a great impression with me that over 10 years later, I looked him up on the internet. Okay, so this was like after more than 10 years, he was still on my mind. I'm not saying you have to wait 10 years, but certainly waiting 6 months, a year, whatever, is definitely worth it to make sure the person is ready, because what's the point of being in a relationship with a person that's not ready, especially if they're not emotionally ready? They may be ready to date, so they may be physically there, but if they're not emotionally there, then there will be something missing. You'll feel a gap and emptiness, and it's not going to work out. So, if you would like my help personally, I do offer private coaching, and you can find out more about that at my website, theartoflove.net. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please be sure to leave a rating and a review. And in the meantime, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.